Hello, all. My legal name is Gregory Melvin Zoff. Zopff. Zoff, of course, rhymes with Romanov, the royal family of Russia, who is also related to my royal family. People, when I tell them, they always want to throw out the question, when did you find out you were Diana's? No one sat me down one day with a giant book on such and such date and said, this is how and why you're Diana's. They poked me forcefully but gradually until one day, fairly early, fairly young, I realized, this is going on because I'm not just a commoner, I am from them. Oh, I need to go over the quick offenses. Of course, obviously, the most offenses are, taking me from Diana, being the goddamn experiment, all those murdered celebrities, and what they're doing all over the world to lots of people. One thing is the family I was adopted by, the Zoffs. My foster grandmother, Louise, my father, Bernard, and his mother, and Sandy, his wife, her mother in law. Her name was Louise. They admit that she worked for the Pentagon during World War II. That's all they will admit about her in terms of government connections. Now, several movies and TV shows were made for me because I'm Diana's that hold stereotypical CIA innuendo, clues, and rhymes. One movie is the movie Junior, that was made by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. And Arnold Schwarzenegger married into the Kennedy family, so of course Jackie had to have been behind this. But the movie Junior from the mid 90s, Danny DeVito's secretary is named Louise. The movie is about a blonde English woman named Diana, and they use her egg for some in vitro fertilization experiment, which is how I was created because they used Diana's egg. And if you watch the movie Twins, I have not one but six fathers, and that simply means, and they say at the beginning of the movie Twins, that simply means the egg, the sperm, and it's the sperm of either, they said, one of the bin Ladens, because the Ladens, did work for the CIA to fight Russia and Afghanistan and all this other proxy war shit. And they said it was, or the sperm of America's favorite other. But six fathers means the egg, the sperm, the surrogate that I was held in, the two foster parents that raised me, and they said DNA from crucifixion materials from the past. Whose ever crucifixion it is. Another movie is, of course, Twins. In the beginning of the movie, it's about Mary and Benedict, and they're doing an experiment, a similar type of experiment. Danny DeVito's in it, Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it. The movie Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, made by Kevin Costner in the early 90s. Robin Hood has a secret half-brother named Will in the movie. Kevin Costner, of course, was friends with Whitney Houston. I was trying to tell all this that was going on. In late 2011, they threw me in the hospital, Baker acted me. And while I was in the hospital in February 2012, they killed Whitney Houston. John Ritter also made some things for me. He put clues in his last TV series, 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. John Ritter also claimed to descend from Confederate soldier, so therefore he was also another candidate for working for the CIA, and which is probably how he got hooked up with all this madness. And the movie The Colony that he made from the mid 90s has also clues, and that's why they killed him. Michael Jackson was also killed because of me. I remember waking up that morning that Michael was murdered, and I went to use the bathroom, and in the bathroom there were books in the bathroom, and the cover of the books, typical basic stereo CIA innuendo style, which basically, and I looked at the covers, it basically meant someone was leaving that day, someone big. I didn't know who, they didn't give a name, but that was basically the innuendo of the covers. Later that day, Michael was murdered. Chris Farley made Black Sheep and Beverly Hills Ninja for me. That's why he was murdered. Diana, of course, because she did all this, that's why she was murdered. Robin Williams. I met a new batch of friends in 2014. I told them I was Diana's. Robin Williams allegedly kills himself, but it had to have been a murder. Several other celebrities, Heath Ledger in his movies, Brothers Grimm, Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, and I saw for the first time the other night The Four Feathers. Other offenses are things that they did to me in childhood, most definitely. They did like a trauma experiment on me where they drugged me, and I just remember being conscious for a little bit with clearly my eyes being held open, and there's this playing in the background, and in front of me was a little screen of Goofy, Disney's Goofy face on it. They did that obviously to traumatize and torture me, but also insult Diana and Stanley Kubrick, who was alive at the time. If you just look up Stanley Kubrick's involvement in trying to reveal government conspiracies, it's pretty obvious, and the types of movies he made. This is going on because the royal family, my royal family of England, Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, they are Nazis. You guys need to get over saying this whole they're just figureheads crap. They are Nazis, so of course they're involved, as the Nazis were in their phony World War II. Of course they're involved in human experimentation. World War II, my royal family helped set up, they helped rig up the Nazi party for a scapegoat. It was basically them. World War One, all the way up to the present war in the Mideast, all helped orchestrated by the royal family. These are wars for purging, which is to, population control, resource taking, political power, and all that other crap. And you guys know it. You have to know by now this is going on. So the movies that were made for me you can look up are Twins, late 80s, Troop Beverly Hills, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Guardian, a horror movie from the early 1990s. The Guardian is about a evil witch named Camilla, and she takes babies and puts them in an old tree, and she's terrorizing a family named the Sheridan family. Louise is closely related to a family named the Sheridan family. My foster dad Bernard's cousins on his mother's side are named Sheridan. Junior, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the movie Clifford with Martin Short and Mary Steenburgen and Charles Grodin. Primary Colors, that's another important one. Primary Colors from 1998. The movie is, you can tell it's loosely based on Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, and there's another main character in it, a black gentleman named Henry. And in the movie they rhyme about, they just keep saying your mama, your mama, your mama all the time. And also in the movie, Bill Clinton's character is involved in a mixed race relationship where he impregnates a dark skin girl. It's basically innuending, a political with a cover up baby that's mixed race, and the baby's father is named Big Willie, like my brother, Big Prince William Willie. Another thing is that's also offensive that they did to me in the mid-90s when we moved out to Idaho was the same type of drugging thing, either while I was asleep or, as I was going to sleep. And then I would wake up to a whisper, but a fairly loud whisper, like a ouch, 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 ouch. And then as I was, coming out of the sleep, they would hurry up and switch it to bah! Roaring and then cut it off. Shit like that. And then we moved down to Florida. Right before they assassinate Diana, we moved to Martin County, Florida. Jupiter Island's right there. Right after they assassinate Diana, I was, here. I was here in Florida, and it was the spring of '98. I received photographs, I was 12, of my brother Prince William in the nude. Not just in the nude, it wasn't art pictures, it was clearly sexual. Because it's the royal family, they're all about incest and rape and all that. Philip is Elizabeth's cousin. Not just that, but the Bush family is mine and Diana's cousins. And Bill and Hillary are cousins, distant cousins themselves, but also cousins to the Queen. These political events are orchestrated. A lot of our presidents are pre-chosen. I gotta hurry up because I got limited time on this smartphone. 9/11. There's also clues about 9/11 in one of the movies that was made for me called Short Time with Dabney Coleman and Terry Garr. They clearly say 9/11 in it and talk about people falling from buildings and all that. In another important movie that Mary Streep made, and Mary Streep publicly is known to have gone to Yale, which Yale is also known to be associated with CIA people, and the Bush family, my cousins. Mary went to Yale and she made a movie called Death Becomes Her, and in the movie you can see towers in the scenery in the foreground and background. There's a line in the movie around an hour and 11 minutes into the movie. There's a line that Mary and Goldie Hawn have, dialogue to each other. And what she said clearly rhymes with what happened on Tuesday, September 11th. And right before that whole scene plays out, Goldie Hawn says the year October 26th. 6 is an upside down 9. 2 is 2 ones. October is the month after September. These are all rigged up events for their power, for their purge, for their control. That's what all this is. Osama bin Laden, of course, you guys know by now. You've heard through other grapevine sources that Osama bin Laden worked for the CIA and all that. David Angel was also on one of the flights on one of the planes on September 11th, and David Angel made several episodes of Frasier with clear clues, stereotypical innuendo clues about me being Diana's. I'm making this video to get it out there that I would like a settlement way more than $9,000 a year in Social Security money with a payee. I would not like to be forced to take state pharmaceuticals that don't change these facts, don't change my mind, don't change my experience. But what helps with the trauma is marijuana. It doesn't make me more paranoid and less lucid. It helps. It helps calm this down. And I would like a fair settlement, middle class or a little bit higher. Or if not, then I would like to be one of your chosen presidents, because we can get rid of all this. We can get rid of purge, starvation, job insecurity, inflation, recession, generational recessions and depressions, because all that is orchestrated by my royal family and the elites. This stuff is not just something that falls from God. It's stuff that they choose to do to us. So, if you want my help, take it. I'll be your president for more than 8 years if you want. If not, please, let me get my settlement. I shouldn't have to live off Social Security, and I shouldn't have to go out and find a job and work my way when I've already, basically my life, I've worked for it and been tortured for it. I shouldn't have to go out to be constantly humiliated like this. So a middle class or above middle class settlement would be fine. Way more than $9,000 a year is fine. Or just let me be your goddamn president. If not, they're just going to give it to Hillary. That's why they got her up against Trump right now. It is going to Hillary if you don't choose me. They've already decided years in advance if you watch Primary Colors. Thank you.